Hello guys, it's Tonton from State 948. Welcome to a new video on my channel. Happy Sunday to you all. Hope you have a sunny Sunday as we have here. It's sunny outside, you can't really see it, but you know, I'll enjoy it a little bit later. After a day on the computer, you know, streaming and recording and, you know, like handling SVS. SVS, Castle Battle. So we won prep phase, we lost Castle Battle. They were too strong, so yeah, a long day. I was happy to see you, to see many of you on stream. You know, it's a small channel. I'm just starting, so really happy that there are some people stopping by and, you know, commenting and exchanging, asking questions. That's what the channel is for, is to answer questions and give tips and share knowledge. So yeah, very happy if it's happening. Today is a very quiet day after SVS. I'll talk about presidency in a minute, but you know, there is nothing much going on. Everything is starting tomorrow. We have Tundra trading station. I'll redo my fishing guide without forgetting essential stuff like I did last time. Yeah, all of that will happen in the coming days. So if you have questions about this kind of event, you know, I made a video about Alliance Showdown already. How to complete today's event. It's kind of covered in it. I made a video about Tundra trading station. But if you have any question about things that are coming, because it's hard to make a video when the event is not in game, right? It's hard for me to do, for example, I don't know, Sunfire Castle battle on Sunday when the battle was Saturday, and I don't have the event to show you, right? So feel free to ask about things in my calendar or in your calendar, and you know, I'll then, when we have it in my state, I'll make a video about it. So about being president, so some states it's a big thing, you know, it's especially in the early days, it's kind of strong people want to be the president, and they want to, it could cause some issue and some wave in the early days. I'll show you like how it works literally, like what you can do as the president, and I'll talk a bit more about it. But first, I'll go through the what you can do. So we will go through all the little things that, you know, not many people see because there are so little president, and they tend to be always the same in states, you know. There's 4 or 5 people that are always presidents, and you know, the other one are never, more or less. For us, we rotate a bit more, depending on the alliance. Some alliances are more or less always the same president. For us, in HIT, we kind of rotate. That's the first time I'm president. I'm kind of 3 months in these states, but all the other R4, I've been president before, so yeah. So let's start at the top. You can change the name of the state. And I think you can probably do it only once. This is important eventually when you have a transfer, right? So people have an ID. But last time we had SVS focus state. So you know, if someone is checking us out, how can I do that? I cannot spell properly, so I'll make so honored president, are you sure this is the name you wish to choose for your state? Okay. Somehow I can change it. Okay, so you can change the state. You can choose a flag. So I did it quickly yesterday, but you can choose it once. So presidency is 14 days. The first time you have president, it could be for 1 week. So often what happens is like the first time you have is local Sunfire Castle. So when I mean local Sunfire Castle, it is within your own state. And SVS is state versus state. You fight against another state. And for a week with the Hall of Chief kind of event, if you win the Hall of Chief kind of event, you attack the other state, the other castle state. So we were fighting versus 9-6, and we are 9-8. We won prep phase, so we were attacking their castle. So technically, if we won the battle phase, I could have been president, or the next president would have been president of 2 castles and 2 states, and they won't have a castle for 2 weeks. And if because they defended the castle, they have their castle, we have our castle. So that's basically the way it works. And you know, I can talk a bit more about that later. I don't think it's really the goal of the video today, but if you have questions about that, please ask in the comments. So yeah, so you can change the flag once, and it's every 14 days. So except the first time, where sometimes you have your first SVS on a Sunday, and then you have your first local Sunfire, on Sunday, and then that's the only time you have it on Sundays. Usually that's the first. And I don't know if they changed that. Maybe now it's Saturday, but for us it was, I've been doing it 3 times on 3 different states. The first SVS was always, no, the first local Sunfire, sorry. Sorry for that. Was always on Sunday, and then you can have your second local Sunfire, so that's before Fire Crystal level, and that's usually before SVS as well, is on Saturday, 1 week after or 2 weeks after. But after that, it's every 2 weeks. So every 2 weeks you have Sunfire Castle Battle, and every 4 weeks it's local, and every 4 weeks it's SVS. So it's every you have an event every 2 weeks, and one is local, only your state, one is SVS with other players. And so for 14 days, you can choose, when your president is 14 days, so you can choose the state name, you can choose the flag, you have an option to use the buff you want. So in the appointment, there are 6 titles, basically. And as the president, you can basically get the one you want for yourself anytime. So you have the president title, which is 5% of attack, defense, lethality, and health. So it's a good all-around offense buff, but you can choose for yourself and activate at any time the buff you want. So see, I can go for vice president, and it's active, right? I actually don't know if there is a cooldown. It's in, okay, 5 minutes cooldown. So as a president, you don't have to queue. You don't have to queue for these, and to kind of, if there is no waiting queue right now because there is no event or nothing. But if there are, it's a training day, and there is a queue and something and whatever, as a president, you just go here, you have a little button, you just go on this one, and you choose whatever you want for yourself. I think the by default is good, but I probably leave the training by default, right? And I'll swap for bear. For bear and stuff, I'll probably, I don't know, I think the 10% lethality might be better. I'll see, but you can choose your title, the one you want, and you have an extra choice. So that's what you do, and you can change. You can change every time. I mean, every 5 minutes. And then you get a president pack, so you get some rewards. So I already claimed it. So it's a bit of speed up, 30 hours. That's actually decent. The rest is, gems is okay. The resources, who cares? But you get a bit of a reward for being a president, so that's good. You can claim that. It costs nothing to claim. You have two skin. So you have a city skin, so you can clearly be identified as the president. And if I cannot send a march, let me pull that one. Oh, it doesn't work because it's a march. It's a gathering march. So I'll show you in 30 seconds. But you have 2 skins, that kind of stuff for the march skin, and that one for the city. So that's how it looks in your city. I think it's a cool skin, it's really Sunfire themed. Overall, it's a good skin. So that's what you can do at the top. Here, you can have a message that is quite long, right? I can make quite a longer message. And it has an 8-hour cooldown. I thought it was 24 hours, but it's an 8-hour cooldown. So you can actually send messages often as a president. And I think that's a totally underused feature. If you want to unify your states, if you want to educate people about how to play in the game, and that's the first time I'm president, so I'll see. I don't want to be, pushy or telling people what to do. So that's not either the stance I want to take, but I want to try a bit with that, because most presidents I've seen in all the states I've been, they just send a thank you message at the end of SVS, and then they send a goodbye message at the end of at the end of their presidency, and they usually never send a message in between. When you can share kill event rules, brother in arms, you can share a lot of tips, you can do a lot of things, if you, like I do on Discord for the states or for my alliance, like I do on YouTube, there is a lot of things that can be done, so I need to seek and free some time to really think about that, and how I can, while not looking like a dick, to the states and telling people what to do, but still provide value to people and be like, okay, let's use president to be someone that's helped the state and not just, not just sit here, So let me gather that, and let me start, let me kill a beast. So I'll show you the Martian skin. So that's it, and you see when it attacks, it's dropping bombs. So you see the little bombs. So that's how it looks. That's how it looks. So that's things. We covered all of these so far, right? And that, of course, you can have it translated, but I can write in English. So that's you that either you have your picture you are choosing that you can upload, but you can choose a hero, right? And if I want to choose Geronimo, it will be Geronimo on the throne. So I choose her. Like I don't know, who do I really want? Let's do Wu Ming. He's a wise, Asian kind of fighter. Make me think of the Pandaren in World of Warcraft a bit, with not with the face of the guy, but the kind of style, right? Which I like. So that's for this stuff. Then you have 3 buttons at these you can see, right? As a non-president. These you cannot see probably. I mean that you know, but the title you don't see, the flag and stuff you don't see. So presidential skill. Well, that you can use every day. Oh, I thought it was one time. So here, let me explain. You have what is called authority, right? At the top. I have 7.7 million. Authority is given by your state members when they complete daily missions, right? You can see every time people complete this kind of stuff, it's giving authority, which you might have been wondering what is being used for, and is used for, so the president can claim gem for himself. So if you're on a very active state and that counter is only going up, you can use 75k to, it's a bit more, it's 81k to give gems to yourself every day. I thought it was a one-time thing, so I was like, it's bad, but if it's every day, it's actually decent. It's basically paying for my arenas. So, it's what? It's 1.2. So if I will convert in VIP, right? It's 600 VIP points and you get 500 VIP points per day for free. So it's nearly, for 40 days, you progress nearly twice faster with VIP points. It's 600 per day, it's like a few thousand VIP points. So getting me closer to VIP 12. It's not, you don't want to be president for that. Like, just to be clear, it's really not worth it. Then you have titles, right? Sorry, not titles, states buff. So you have 50% healing cost. So you see I used it yesterday, right after the battle, so people can start to heal. And when you use a buff, state buff, it has a 7-day cooldown. It starts a 7-day cooldown. So, and if you use it, it costs a bit of this authority, right? So for us, we have a very active state, so it doesn't matter. But if your state is not that active, or if it's your first Sunfire Castle, I've heard some people saying that presidents should not claim the gems. I don't see why, to be honest. Like, unless you're in a dead state and you see that number is like in the 100k instead of millions, right? But I really don't see. Like, you need to be really in a dead state, I think, to be able to use that without thinking. Like, you should be able to use that without thinking, to be honest. In terms of authority, right? You have to think about how do you use these. So in terms of buff, you have state buff, you have 50% healing, so you use that on Sunfire Castle usually, and it's a 7-day cooldown, so we'll have it next Saturday, so I'll pop it probably next Sunday for Foundry, for example. And can I schedule it? Okay, I can schedule it. So now you can schedule buffs, right? But you can only schedule buffs, it seems, some day in advance, right? Like, that's in 1 week from now, because let me calculate. When is the 5th? So the 5th is the day I will use the buff. So it's next Saturday, right? Next Saturday is the 5th, and it's around. Because, I cannot go, because it's a 7-day cooldown, I cannot use it before than that. So I used it around that time, basically, yesterday. And that means 1 week later I can schedule it. But you see, I cannot schedule it for the full duration of the 14 days I'm a president. I can schedule it when the buff is available again and for the next few days. So if I would do next Sunday, for example, I could do next Sunday, only victorious state, because I cannot... we are not... I'll explain Supreme President, I guess, right now. So... I mentioned that when you win prep phase in SVS, you attack the other castle. In that case, if we stole the other castle, I would have been Supreme President, or whoever, you will be, whatever. Which means that I'm president of both states and both castles. It changes a few things, and one thing it changes is when you activate buffs, you can choose to activate it only for your states. So that's why it's as well important to have a good relationship before the battle with the other states and have kind of gentleman agreements and to respect the rules, because if you act like dickheads and the other state is stealing your castle, they can decide for 2 weeks you won't have a buff. They can decide for 2 weeks you won't have titles, and we will talk about titles later. But it happened to us once. Like I think that was the first SVS in 665. If someone remember and still watching, please let me know. Or it was 422. I forgot which it was. Either my first city or my second city. We won we lost the first or the second SVS, and it went pretty badly. Like we burned their state before castle. They were kind of more passive than us, let's say, in terms of fighting. They stole our castle. We halfway through, we had an agreement not to fight during castle, but our whales kind of went mad because we lost castle, so they started to teleport and burn their state down. So there are many people not shielded because there was a gentleman agreement that we're not gonna. And it was one of the first SVS, so people didn't learn to shield or their bunch, right? So our whales started to teleport and to burn everyone. And so when they took castle, basically they told us, F you guys, no titles. For most events, like King of Icefield, like all the important events, no title, they kept them for themselves, and I'm not even sure we had state buff. I don't remember, but they might have not even give us state buffs. It's really rare. Most of the time you will get state buff. So for me, I want it next Sunday for Foundry, and so I can already apply it. So that it's already scheduled. And the same for the other one, right? You can use now because it's not on cooldown, so the first option is use now. So I can use it now, or I can schedule it, right? And if I schedule it, I have only the next 3 days. So I cannot schedule it a week in advance, but I can schedule it. So it's the same for all these buffs. Then you have a few things that are interesting. You have a ceasefire. So if you have during SVS or early days in your states, someone that's burning your states, you can ceasefire them for 1 hour. I believe it has a cooldown. Let's test it. Let's unfire my man El Patron. So it has a 2-hour cooldown. So it cost me 27 authorities, and it has a 2-hour cooldown. So you cannot prevent someone back-to-back, non-stop, to attack. So, you cannot totally prevent someone to attack, right? But you can slow them down, and you can let time, for people to go online, to put shield and stuff. I did not use it yesterday because I was afraid one of their player, one of the 926 was burning a lot of people. So I teleported him. I used the forced exile, and I'll go there in a minute. I kept that in case the bigger whale is coming and attacking a stronger player, but I ended up not using it. So I could have used it and saved some people a burn. So, it's a balance between, because it's a cooldown, do I use it now on someone that's he's a strong player, but he was not a big whale, right? So he hurts smaller players, but he's limited in what he can do. It's easy to defend cities against him. It's easy to kind of stop him. But like the strong players in the other alliance were sleeping, so he did some damage. So it's a balance. But either for SVS battle phase, you can use it. Of course, before the battle or after the battle. During the battle, there is no president, so you cannot use it. But before the battle or after the battle, you can use it. 2 hours cooldown. And I think there is even a cooldown per person. So if it goes out of cooldown, or in the next update, I cannot use it again on the same player for like 12 or 24 hours. So you cannot really prevent someone to fight if they want to. Then force exile, so you see, teleport a target city randomly and generate a shield that lasts for 10 hours. So that I used it against someone that was attacking, you know, another alliance in our states. So same, you use it, you type their names. You know, let's say Ricky is here, right? And I can force teleport. So force teleport can be used as well to teleport some people. So let's say we have King Vegeta that is kind of inactive for a long time. He did not log in again. And if it was an issue for us, because let's say he was in the middle of the hive, you know, he just left the game and installed the app. He told us or not, and he's in the middle of your hive, right? And you don't know what to do with him because you want another player to be at the spot. You can tell the president, he can either click on it. You know, when you're a president, you have these as well available. Appoint is to give a title, and use skill is to use a skill. So I'll show you on Vegeta because I don't think he will come back. Force exile, yes. So 4 hour cooldown, and you see he is ported. So now we will look at him. We look at him and we will use the last skill. So you can ceasefire, someone cannot attack for an hour, 2 hour cooldown, and I think that person is on cooldown for 12 or 24 hours. You cannot use it again on the same person. You can force people teleport, so you can use that defensively if someone is attacking you, or you can use that to help an alliance in your state to manage their bear traps. And the last one is to search someone. So now I want to search for King Vegeta because, you know, I teleported him and I'm not sure where he is. And let's say, okay, he's not showing. Let's say you have someone that's, you know, going around and burning people, and you want to locate them, and you are like, you ask your president, either you are in your alliance or not, or you ask your R4 to ask the president, and someone is going around teleporting, burning everyone, you can locate him, right? So you can go, you can search, and the president will show you where it is. So it will tell me where it is. So that's the way it works. And you can either search by ID, and see it's a 2 hour cooldown again, right? But it was suggesting me either to search by ID. So by ID, it means if I look on someone, that's their ID. So I could use that, copy paste it, and I'll use in the skill, and I'll put it there, right? Or I can get their names. Both are working. So that's for the skill. So that, you know, you don't really use these often. You mostly port people to make space in your hive. You mostly use research when there is trouble in your state. For us, it's a state at peace, so there is no really need for any of that. I'll just use that in SVS. President could use that in SVS situation for battle phase. And you have a skill record, so you can see, you know, see that the dude I moved yesterday to prevent him to attack Car. Like Car, it's another alliance in our state, and they had some people that were not in the alliance because we had to go there ourselves to make rallies to try to take the castle. So I forced exiled him, and I could have ceasefire him actually. I thought I will need it later, but I did not use it. So yeah. So that's for the titles, for the buff and the skills, right? You can use. So often what you want to do with these is you want to time them in days that are important for other events. So often construction is done on Monday on like Olaf Chief, King of Icefield, SVS preparation. Often it's Monday for construction speed ups. I mean construction speed buff. For research speed buff, it's often on SVS. It's often done on Tuesday nowadays because you have training day on Thursday, so you want people, when you have T11 particularly, once you get T11 troops, you want people to be able to research on Tuesday and unlock their T11 and to be able to promote their troops on Thursday. So you want to use it on Tuesday. If not, it's often used on Friday before T11s. On King of Icefield, on Olaf Chief, on SVS Prep, it's often used on Friday before T11 and then Tuesday when you have T11. The only thing you need to think of, if it's used on Tuesday for SVS Prep, is because it's a 7-day cooldown. That means the week before you have not to use it, or you have to use it on Tuesday as well. Because if I use it on Friday, the week before prep phase, because you want to use it on Alliance mobilization and you use that buff on Friday usually, then that means it will be on cooldown until Friday next week. So you won't be able to use it on Tuesday for SVS prep. So you want to make sure the most important event is SVS preparation, so state versus state preparation. And you want to have this buff the right day on state versus state preparation. So the week before, you want to be careful with how you use the buffs. It does not apply to my presidency because we just had SVS and it will be in 4 weeks, and my presidency will last 2 weeks. So it will be for the next president to take care of that. But so if you are, president in the SVS preparation phase, please be careful with that. And training, it's nearly all the time on Thursday. For all of Chief, King of Icefield, SVS preparation, these all have training on Thursday. King of Icefield, have it on Saturday as well. So maybe on the week of King of Icefield, you can use it on Saturday. It doesn't really matter. Usually, people still use it on Thursday. People are used to it, that's how it works. I think it goes well with the packs in the game for spenders. You have training packs on Thursday that appear in the shop, so I think that's good. So that's for the skills. There are the grants. So the grant you can give to people, right? You can give to people chests. It's not big, to be honest, right? Even if you look at the biggest one, it's 10 XP component, 5. Like maybe, when you are Furnace 20 or 30, it's decent. For us, it's peanuts. It's peanuts, so it's more of a same, like the first time you have Sunfire Castle, these things are causing trouble. People want these, and they're like, oh, I deserve one because I've been helping and stuff. Like, doesn't, like, yeah, of course. It's a bit of a boost, right? But it does not really matter. These are very small. So for me, I gave some to people I cared to give some already. I need to think a bit more about it. I've done that quickly yesterday, but it's mostly a thank you. So I'm not trying to just give it to my alliance, but I'm thinking of people in the R5 chat, in the transfer chat, like people that spend a lot of energy and effort for the States since I've been in the States, basically. And I don't know the history, I don't know who was involved before I joined or before I was a R4 and I got access to these chats. There are things I don't see as well, so it's not perfect, but I try to look at the names and, look at people in these channels and people that really put a lot of effort for the States. And then I'll try to reward individual in my alliance that are putting a lot of efforts as well. And I guess everyone is doing kind of the same, right? I've asked other alliance if they have some name they want to put forward, so I'm trying to slow down on giving stuff out because I want to be able to give 2 or 3 for other alliances, because I already gave myself to other alliances based on who I think deserves it in some ways. I think many more people deserve it than the 36 here, but you have to choose, right? You have to choose. You cannot give it to everyone. So that's how it goes, and to give it's the same. So you have 2 tabs. You have one tab for your alliance, so you can see who I gave it. Rally leaders. Baba Yaga is very active. These are new people. Very active in the chat. Big fighters. Rebel Chief, he helped us with rally leading. He's one of the new people. El Patron is doing a lot behind the scene as well. I can do Emma, do Patron. He does a lot. I can do Denise. There are so many people I could just go through and say, okay, I should give some to them. But I have 36. I have to make decision. I'll give easily 100. From the top of my head, looking at the list of people. So that's your alliance, and you can see personal points so that people who made point in the Sunfire Castle battle yesterday, so their activity based on Sunfire Castle. So people are only using that to give them. It's an option. You can sort by power as well. So you're a stronger player in your alliance. Maybe you want to either help the small guys or help the big guys, right? Whichever. Then you have alliance rank. So you're like, okay, I'll give one to all of my R4s because, they are working a lot. So that's one way, or if you have a special rank for R3s or whatever. So that's for your alliance. And then you have the other chief. And by default, they are ranked, I think, by power. But you can type, if I type... Carney is here, not Garni, Carney is here. Do I have... Because people change name and they use weird characters, so I don't know if they will show up, but... There is a queen in KND that I gave a reward to. I cared to give her something, but she's using like special characters to type queen, so I don't know how to find her. That's kind of the issue, right? But that's why you can use ID as well. If you have a name you don't know how to type, I know KND, I think they are somewhere in the map. Are they around here? Is that them or is that car? It's car, okay. It's car, but doesn't matter. Let's say I want to give it to be Amari, but I cannot type their things. You know, I go on, I find them or ask them in private, where is your location? You go here, you copy, and you give them the rewards, right? That's an option as well. To copy the ID. And you know, so you have a big one. I'll show you quickly, but you can see that yourself in your state if you have Sunfire Castle. You have a big one with a bit of speed up, bit of stuff. A medium one with a bit less, and a small one with a lot less. At the end of the day, is really to say thank you. Like, take it as a thank you. Who do you want to give a shout out and say, you know, you did a good job, you help us a lot, thank you very much for what you do. So and you can see, you know, who I gave them to. You know, that there are someone that came with transfer, that the new rally leader of KND, so I wanted to kind of say hi as well at the same time, things like that. So you can see of, you know, what I've been doing, and you can see okay, so that's only my presidency, so it resets, right? It resets every presidency. So you cannot see what the previous president done, but I think as a player, you can see what your president have been doing as well with this. Now, and then the last thing we need to talk about is titles. So there are 6. So we saw them. There is like a vice president, construction speed, and research speed, that the 2 you care about. Minister of Interior. So Minister of Interior is, you know, if you need resources, why not? You know, but that's not much. But the power to appoint and remove officials in the president's place. So if I put Emma, for example, she's our R5, she can help me with title and she can manage title the way I do. So, you know, if I go to sleep, if I'm not available, she can queue people for title, she can remove a title, she can give a punishment to someone, you know, things like that. So the way it works for each title, you have a few options, right? So you see what it does, you see the list of people reserving it. If I go here on the so that the history, okay, well, who cares? I was surprised that there is only one person, but since we got the castle from yesterday evening, only 2 people got that title, so the history is pretty clean, right? And on the bottom right, on the application, so you have 2 options. Either by default, it's not activated. So by default, what will happen is people will apply for it. They will have a button to apply. It will put them in a queue, and either the president or the minister of the interior will have to go through the queue and to validate people one by one. Some states are using that to remove, you know, weaker players from the list and to, you know, punish some alliance, whatever. For us, like what we do instead, we just tick automatically approve application during my term, and that's only for this title. It's only for vice president, so you need to select for all of the title what you want to do, and it means that people just, you know, I don't have the same option here because I'm the president, but people just can click here and say apply, and it will either, the titles last for 30 minutes. So if someone have it for 10 hours, if I put someone else, they will get the title instantly, right? Because it's over 30 minutes. And if someone have it like Deadpool for 12 minutes, you will see people will start to be queued, but the game will queue them automatically if I tick this option. So the game will handle titles. You don't have to have anyone. In some other game I played 5-6 years ago, you had to have someone giving title all day, and it was a full-time job. Like we had 2 or 3 people kind of rotating, you know. They were doing 8-hour shifts, and you know they are giving titles to everyone. So the games allow you to manage that on your own. So if you want a title, you know, just have to pay attention and to reserve it whenever you need it. And you choose that per title. So you see, this one I activated, this one I did not. Doesn't really matter. You could leave it free, you know. People will queue, and if people want it, I'll just give it to them. I don't really care. That's really important to give that spot when you do transfers or when you do SVS prep and you're assigning people during SVS prep, like I shared with you in the how to do like SVS preparation, like a pro video I've made. It's really important you have your right arm, like your buddy, that do the title with you at that spot. For every other time, you don't care with there. It's not really important, especially if you do titles automated. So you see all titles are automated. So anyone can take them anytime, and that's okay. And if I wanted to make a list, I'd say I want to queue 10 people because we are in SVS preparation phase. That's what we are doing, right? We are filling every 30 minutes slot with someone, and then at some point the president is like, okay, so first is Webster, so I'll put Webster, then second is Sato, then third is Rick, and then midnight to midnight 30 is Webster, midnight 30 to 1 o'clock a.m. 1 a.m. is Sato, 1 a.m. to 1 a.m. 30 is Farkad, and you go through the list and you pick people and you slot them in, because you cannot decide at what time it starts, right? You cannot decide at what time it starts. So it starts now. If I queue someone, it will start now. So what you might need to do is to queue, you might need to queue farms or fake accounts or things you don't care about up to go to midnight. So you do that, let's say preparation phase start on Monday, you are Sunday evening, it's 22 UTC, so you want to go to bed soon. Like me in Europe, it's 22 UTC, but then preparation phase start at midnight. So you need 2 hours to fill. So you put 4 farms, for example, in the queue. So, 22 to 22:30, 22:30 to 23, 23 to 23:30, 23:30 to midnight. That you put like accounts that are useless and then that, don't need the title or anything. And then at midnight, then you start to put people that and you just do new reservation, blah, 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 names or IDs. So, you have to coordinate with your state to either get the name or the ID, right? So it's easy for you, but that's how it works, basically. So that's an overview of being a president. What is important? What is the role of a president in most of the states? If you have SVS, you will be the one that will negotiate, let's say, with the opponent states, president as well. Often it's the way it's done. Maybe you have another person being point of contact for that, but often it's between president, and you will have to agree on rules for the castle battle. So do we keep the red and the gray area around the castle safe, or can we attack during fire castle battle? Or you have the red area here, and then you have the gray. It's not really showing well. Now it's showing a lot better, right? You have the red area, and then you have a gray one around the castle, and often you want these two to be safe, at least during the battle. For the 3 to 6 hours of the battle, you want that to be safe, so you don't want to have to fight the castle, and on top of that, having rallies and solo attacks going on. It's a mess. I've seen that once, it's really a mess. So you will agree on the rules, right? The events start at 10 a.m. UTC, so do you allow to teleport and kill the other states? Are you preventing some? Like you agree on the rules. I'm not gonna cover that too much, but let me show you the default rule we use. Maybe I can do that quickly. Just get them from Discord. I'll put them in chat. So you see what we agree with another state. So that's negotiated between president from our state and their state. So the position, so we know where people are, So you give 2 sides of the castle to one state and 2 sides to the other states. Then you agree from what happened from 10 to 12 UTC, for example. So for us, we can move between states. We can attack each other. That's okay, no problem. We clarify that red and gray zone are safe at any time. There's no attack possible. And that we re-mention it here that from the time of the battle, gray and red zone are safe, right? So you can move. The event start at 10. The battle of the castle starts at 12, but you can teleport around the castle at 11. If you teleport before, I showed it yesterday in the stream. If there are winds showing on the screen, like you can see winds, and if you teleport, the game moves you to another spot. So that's why we have that kind of rules. And so we clarify that, for example, that after the battle ends, so the game is sending a notification that the castle is either defended or occupied by the how do they call it? attackers, whoever, by the other states, and when the game sends you the mail telling you it's the castle is over, then we can attack cities again. That's our default rule, because we like to fight a lot, so we like to fight before, we like to fight after. If you look at yesterday, yeah, I was not streaming that part, but if you look at, can I see it still? I don't think I can. That's a bit sad. They should allow you to see it one day more, but like, oh, see, I can see it, right? Alliance, battle phase. I mean, this guy fought a lot, right? But see, like, we went on the offense a lot more than everybody else. We burned their state down, basically. Really, we burned their state down. Until the last minute. Like, everyone that was not shielded, except the Dar Alliance, because they are too strong. So we burned everyone else. A bit of a coward, maybe, you know, so yeah. I ended up finishing 2 actually for the, you know, but that's all, you know, I don't know how it looks for you when you do Sunfire Castle Battle, but these are crazy numbers. And you clearly see, right? Top 10, there are 1 guy from Car and 1 guy for LFR. Everything else is us except the stronger player in Car, right? So 7 of the top 10 is hit, basically. So that's how strong we went and how much we burnt, and if you scroll down as well, right? I mean, some of their big players are there as well because they make points in SVS battle as well. They were not, these guys like Duju, Jima, she defended a bit. They were not, Suju, they were not burning our state, they just defended their state. So they burned some of our players and some of their players attacking, but they made particularly a lot of points during the battle itself by defending the castle. Because they defended orally, so that's giving them a lot of points. So yeah, that's the rules you want to agree for. So that's one thing that the president has to do. So it's a bit of work, and sometimes it can be a headache. It's not easy with all the states to do that. One other big thing that you will have to do as the president is transfers. Like, people by default will likely contact presidents, and as a president, you will be the one, like, you give the titles, right? And I don't know how it works because I've never been a president in transfers, but that will be similar to that. I guess you will have somewhere you can go, and you will have to use ID of a player here. So you need, if you want your president to invite someone, you need to give them the ID, because you know they are inviting cross states. So it's a lot easier to do IDs, so it's safer, and maybe you can only do IDs actually. I'm not sure if you can do both. But you will have to do these 2 things, and transfer is a lot of work. So for me, we have a chill presidency. We don't have transfers, we don't have prep phase, because we did prep phase last time. So the way we organize the states is we rotate through 4 alliances most of the time. Sometimes 1 alliance don't want to do it because they are not available. You know, they are a bit less active, and their real life sometimes is too busy, so we rotate between 3 and 4 alliances. So, and then we share workload. So last time our alliance did prep phase. So this time it was the second alliance who did it, right? It was the second alliance who did it. So this time it was Car doing it, and they had transfer at the same time. So they had a very heavy presidency. It was a lot of work for them. For us, we have nothing, so it's chill. KND, they were president before Car, they had nothing as well. They had no transfer, so similar to me, it will be a chill presidency. AVG, they did prep phase last time. So what will likely happen is, because they did prep phase, then before that it was us, I need to discuss with everyone, but it's likely KND that will do prep phase, but we want to give them transfers because we want them to recruit, so maybe we'll take prep phase this time. I need to see, but you know, if you do a rotation that's always the same, you are not sharing the workload with everybody, because events are happening every 4 weeks. So every other presidency, you have a prep phase. And if you do a rotation with 4 alliances, for example, then that will mean that always the 2 same alliances will do prep phase. And they might have transfer in between. And it means the other 2 alliances will never have to do anything. So I know people want sometimes, you know, things to be reliable and, you know, always in the same order. And that's the case here sometimes. But I don't think it's fair. So for me, I've made a spreadsheet when I'm tracking who is president and, you know, what they had to do. And my suggestion to the state will be, okay, you guys did a lot, so let's give you a chill presidency. You can put someone that was never president and that want to kind of learn the rope. You can put someone that you just want to say thank you for what you've done. There is no burden on their shoulder. unless there is an unexpected transfer that's happening sooner than anticipated, but that rarely happens, Most of the time, transfer are every 4 weeks, and sometimes they are every 5 or 6 weeks. So you kind of plan that. It's very unlikely that they will do a transfer 2 weeks after the previous one. It never happened so far. It's at least 4 weeks in between. So you can anticipate, and I would suggest to share the workload. If you have 3 alliance or 5, maybe I didn't think about it, but you will need to put it on paper and to look at how the rotation look like, and it might naturally rotate because you are odd number, right, of alliance. But for us, with an even number of alliance, with top 4, we have to rotate. That's just as simple as that. That's just the way it works. So that's the 2 things that the president have to do that are really important. That's why you don't want, ideally, like for transfers, you want someone that's at ease with communication. Speaking English might be good, but it depends. If you are like a Taiwanese or Korean states, and you recruit mostly people from your language, then maybe it's okay. But if you are like international state like us, like I think someone being okay with English, it's a lot better for translation. It's not a requirement, but it helps a bit. But someone that's at least at ease with communicating, that is a bit organized, because it can get very messy because you have a lot of things to do, and someone that has time on their hands as well. Someone that can really spend time to do that. Like I said in live stream yesterday, transfers last time took me like for Monday, Tuesday, I nearly did no work. I'm self-employed, I'm my own boss, but I nearly need no work. Like all my energy and my focus was on talking to people, fixing things, making a spreadsheet to track where we are, because it was very confusing between people that say they are coming, but they might go somewhere else, and people that want to join now that they said no before, or new groups, and you start to talk to like 100 people at a time for 35 invites. So, you don't know who is coming, who is not. And, we are 10 people handling this transfer. So, some people are talking to us because they want to join us, but they are talking to 2 or 3 people in the alliance because there are 2 or 3 different groups. And then same for the other alliance. So you have 5-10 people involved, talking to groups, to individuals that want to join. It gets really, really, really messy really quick. So you want someone that's a bit organized and that can handle that. You could burn out on transfers if it's a mess. Just on transfer, you can burn out. You can burn out being a R5, you can burn out being a R4, but transfers could be very, very, let's say, intense. It could cause a lot of tension between alliances as well. For us, it always causes tensions because some people, want their friends to come, and we say no, we want the groups, and then people cannot get their friends. So it's always tension anyway. But it's a decent level of tension we can manage. It doesn't seem to be too high that things are exploding and we are fighting against each other. We try to manage to keep the cooperation and the communication well. But I know in some states like it's they go at war for transfer. So you want to be mindful of these things. And that's really it. What I might do a kind of a follow-up in one of the next video if I find a way to find some balance with these messages and to kind of use that opportunity to share stuff with the state that's actually useful and helpful for people to learn and grow. To give it's tough to give a direction to a state, right? I think that it's a balance between all the alliances in here, all the individuals, but at some point as well, we want to be a SVS focused states, and that means something that means, we need to save for prep phase, we need to learn how to fight better as well, and I think that's where we need to improve the most. So I'll see if I find the right balance. I'll let you know. If you have experience with that, please let me know in the comments. I think I remember having presidents that were really rallying the state together in the past. I don't know if I can do that. I'll see, but I think you can have some impact as a president. It's a little impact, but you can have some, and that's up to anyone to take it and see what they can do for people in their states. You can be a dick as well, so just be mindful as well. Good intention does not as well does not always translate to good actions. So, it's always a question of, finding the balance and being fair, I guess, in some ways. So that's it for being a president. That's all you can do. That's how it works. It looks cool. It could be a lot of work for transfers and SVS prep. And on the state that's not at peace, it could be a very important, either for the worst or for the best, role, because you can either be a tyrant and, be like, we are the strongest, we are the president, F you guys, we're gonna, teleport you, ceasefire you, we're gonna burn you down, we're gonna ceasefire your whale, we're gonna burn your alliance while we ceasefire your whale in the next hour and while you are asleep. Like, there are a lot of nasty things you can do, and I'm not trying to give you bad ideas, but I've seen that in the past. You just ceasefire the main guy of the other alliance. They are Europeans, US folks, Asian folks, because often you have a tendency, or you have, either like, it's often US, Europe, or Asia kind of thing for most alliance, but not always. And so I've been in alliance that was mostly Asia and Europe, with very little people from the US. But you kind of know based on their time zone when, if you're at war, what to do, basically. So you could ceasefire their whale and just, go after them, and that's a dick move, but, so be careful with your president if you are in such a state that could happen. And if you are the president, be nice to people, don't be a dick. I guess that's the message for today. Try to act for good in this world. That's so, that's the best we can do. So let me know if you have questions, if I forgot something important. And let me know, if there are any other videos you want me to do about things in the game, like events or things like that. I hope you liked it. Talk to you soon. Have a lovely Sunday again, guys. And girls too. See you later. Bye-bye.